3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Property Matters on Dublin South FM and iPropertyRadio with myself, Carol Tallon. You can contact us on social media at iPropertyRadio or email hello@iPropertyRadio.com. Now, first up this week, we have Lorraine Mulligan, regular guest of the show and owner of the multi-award winning national and international real estate agency, auctioneers and letting company, Remax. So, Lorraine, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us again. It's been a while since we spoke last.
Carl, it's great to be with you. I've missed you. It's been a bit of a mad couple of years, hasn't it? And
Lorraine,
thanks for reaching out to us. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Do you know, you're the most upbeat estate agent, an upbeat person I've heard about COVID. You're definitely an example of seeing the silver lining there. So you've quite enjoyed the last 2.5 years that everybody else in the country is giving out about.
Yeah, Carl, you know, I suppose, look, between yourself and myself, I'm in business 20 years, thanks be to God. Now I've seen foot and mouth disease, the 9/11, the property boom, the property crash. Unfortunately, went through a marriage breakup. I married a lovely guy a few years ago. My life is just brilliant. And just every day is a bonus. And I suppose when COVID hit, I thought it was only going to be for 2 weeks. So I've worked all my life. My dad had a petrol station down in Wexford. So we were always down in the garage stacking shelves and serving petrol, looking after customers and dealing with staff and balancing floats and all these lovely things and mad things. So mum and dad always made us work. And so I had 2 weeks, the first of my life, where I couldn't believe it. I actually was at home and I thoroughly enjoyed the time. The weather was beautiful the first lockdown and I just embraced it. So I was out in the back garden with Aaron and our 2 girls and Cian and our dogs, and I really enjoyed it. But then as time trickled on, I thought, okay, this is kind of a bit scary now, because when you're self-employed, you're kind of going, you know, money eventually is going to run out. And so look, what I did was, I couldn't control the situation, but I controlled myself. So what I did was, I used to get up at 5 o'clock every morning and I just threw myself into learning. I downloaded loads of courses, and I literally, before the kids got up, I would have 3 or 4 courses under my belt. So I did Canva, I did Instagram, I did Facebook, I did YouTube, I did master classes and loads of different social media platforms and marketing. And I just used that time to enrich my mind, my soul, my body. And I exercised, and yeah, I just used the time very, very beneficially. And I have to say, after coming back out of that situation, it's just been a huge advantage to my customers and my team. So I just use the time to learn as opposed to get depressed. So I said I can go one way or the other. So I just said, look, I'm going to embrace it now. And just all I could do was control what I could control. And I couldn't control going out doing viewings or doing valuations or anything like that. So I just controlled what I could control.
Lorraine, that's amazing to hear. And I genuinely hope that there's estate agents up and down the country listening to you and saying that actually really technologies like Canva, YouTube, Instagram, all of these, a whole suite of digital marketing tools, they are so accessible online. There's free training. And part of our business is that we engage in this, but we really like to educate people on the free training that's out there, the amount of resources. But the more important thing is that most of these technologies are so intuitive that you can use them. And once you get comfortable with them, you actually can use them on your desktop or on your phone. So I'm delighted to hear you talk about those, because I think that's very empowering for not just estate agents, for all business owners to be able to do things like that themselves. So well done. I'm delighted that you've said that, because I think it's really empowering for estate agents who think, no, don't want to go there in terms of digital marketing and social, because there's no choice. You have to go there, but it's still a bit of a hurdle for some. And I think it's definitely more of a mindset shift that needs to happen, as opposed to embracing the technologies, because actually technology has become so much easier to use, so much more intuitive, that actually if you could handle Outlook as your email exchange 10 and 15 years ago, you can handle any of the technologies that are available today. But I suppose let's talk about the business, because definitely we want to get into kind of the local marketplace and things like that as well. But actually, since we started talking about the business, let's do that. How are things going in terms of, because the last time we spoke, your team was on a growth trajectory. How are things going now for the business?
Yeah, Carol, thanks for the guidance. Things are going very, very well. My team is now, I've now 7 people working with me, not for me, but with me. they're all women. I'm not in any way against men. I think good men are absolutely brilliant. Anybody who comes to me tends to be a lady and tends to be a mother. I don't believe in micromanaging people. I just let my team do what they need to do. They all know what they need to do and when they need to do it. So there's a great degree of flexibility in the company, great degree of respect. We've no paper in the office whatsoever. In lockdown, what I did was I spent a huge amount of money modernising my Selbridge office in particular, and I put the best of technology. The girls have the best computers you can buy, double screens on all the desks. All our paperwork is in the cloud. It's all in SharePoint. So I'm very particular about keeping our offices very neat and tidy. The kitchen area spotless, no cups lying around, just a very comfortable, happy, vibrant, clutter-free environment, ergonomic, bright, fresh, warm, because a whole organization starts from the love inwards, outwards. You can't look after your customers, you don't look after the environment that you're operating or the people you're working with. So yeah, it's just very organized, it's very respectful, it's very structured. It's very honest. Like, none of my team can walk out the door and say that any bids were lied about or there was any cash deals or anything like that. You know, I would prefer to go to bed at night and sleep well, knowing I've done the best job I can. I've really looked after everyone. I've the pleasure of meeting with today, from everyone who drops in the post into the office to maybe this little girl outside Central called Maria. She's Romanian. She's only young girl. It's heartbreaking. She's on the street. I know life doesn't always anything. We have to get up and get out and go. But I suppose I was very lucky as far as I have two great parents who clothed and educated and fed us and showed us work ethic. So I kind of know the difference. So everybody matters, no matter who they are. So we just like to be good and kind to everybody. And that starts in the office and radiates outwards to our customers and everyone who we meet.
Do you know, I love when you bring it back to basics, because, you know, excellence is all about the basics. It reminds me, you know, gosh, 20 years ago, reading this book that was written by somebody who had come out of an army into a corporate environment. And, you know, his key phrase was that if you can't make your bed in the morning, then you can't make your life, essentially. And so it's true. Excellence starts with the basics. Let's talk us through some of the technologies you're using at the moment. What did you discover? Any new technologies that made running of the business easier during COVID?
Yeah, okay. Basically, Carl, I'm with Remax now. Remax are an international company. They're a global brand. They're a beautiful brand. They sell more property than anybody else in the world. You know, and I've great respect for my competitors, Sherry Fitzgerald, D&G, Lisney's, all these lovely, beautiful brands too. They're all great brands. I have massive respect for them. I think competition is a great thing because it makes us all sharpen our sword. So it's brilliant. But I'm with Remax 20 years. I just find them really lovely to be with. I think their technology, their ethos, their customer care, their training is absolutely incredible. So we've done an awful lot of training with them. But every time I go somewhere with Remax, I come back with gold nuggets. So basically what happened to me probably about 4 years ago now, I went over to Amsterdam with Remax. We had a European convention, and they were talking about online bidding and all this kind of jazz. And I said, Leslie's director of the business, she's brilliant. Leslie and I are together a long, long time. And Leslie and I, we made 10 things we're going to do when we came back to improve the business, improve the customer service, our customer service for our people that we serve. And one of them was online bidding. Now, little did I know, Carl, 2 years or a year and a half later, that the world would go into this COVID lockdown. And the online bidding really, really saved us. When lockdown came, we can get out to do viewings, and, you know, we could receive bids online. We could do WhatsApp videos for people in houses. And that proved hugely beneficial, absolutely massively beneficial. So yeah, every time I go with Remax, I come back with something brilliant. I was in Las Vegas in March, and I nearly, honest God, I was rubbing the arm of the Aer Lingus plane as I took off from Dublin Airport because I hadn't been in a plane in so long. And it was such a bonus. I was so grateful. I was flying in the sky again. And Leslie and I went over to Las Vegas. It's the Remax International Convention. And again, I came home with a whole pile of fantastic things to improve the business that have been put in the business, that's driving the business forward. I've been very honoured insofar as this year I've been invited to the Elite Retreat, and this is a very specialised private club for the top producers in the world. It's on in California in September this year, and I've been invited to go and attend. So this is really when you're rubbing shoulders with producers that are just literally, they're not doing millions worth of transactions. You're not like billions. Like, these guys are just Like I'll be just a very small fly in a big, huge pond there. But yeah, it's just the training we get as well, but I implement everything. So it always tells us about apps and training and what we need to do, technology and systems and customer service systems. It's just brilliant because it's constant learning, which is brilliant.
Lorraine, this must give you a great perspective on how the industry works or how the sector works globally. In Ireland, you know, one thing, just last week on the show, I was joined by Adam Ferguson of daft.ie, and we were talking about this agent's race to the bottom that seems to happen every few years. You know, it happens for a while and then it stops and then it goes again. But this race to the bottom, driving down of commissions. And it's something that I believe, I'm not an estate agent and I never have been. However, I believe that driving down fees is actually bad for the consumer because we know those businesses can't sustain the levels. So it has to impact consumer experience. So it's something that in a genuinely unbiased way, I think is bad for the industry. I think it makes everything worse because you don't have the resources to invest in your people, in training, in things like innovation. So when you have the global perspective from your colleagues in Remax across the world, you know, what kind of changes would you like to see in the Irish marketplace?
Okay, first of all, quite simply, right, the professional fees need to go up, right? Like, I know people might sell their house and look at a fee for 3,000 or 4,000, but they have to understand the agent has to do so much work to get to that point. Plus, the agencies now, it can take, like, the conveyancing can take 3 to 4 weeks. Sorry, Carl, I'm here in a property at the moment. It's a vacant property. There's little dogs. But yeah, basically the fees are too low. By the time a house is taken on and sold, there's very, very little left because people have to understand that, okay, the agent might get 3 or 4 grand or whatever the case may be, right? But it can take 6, 7 months to get that fee, if they get it at all, because sometimes buyers pull out, sometimes sellers pull out, sometimes the house has to be sold a couple of times. You know, sometimes there can be a problem with conveyancing, boundaries, you know, so the professional fees are way too low. Like, I have no problem charging less fee if I thought I could get paid in a month as opposed to waiting to 6 or 7 months. And that's the first thing. What I'd say to people as well, look, I don't buy a lot, but I only buy the best, right? I'll do without. You can't beat quality. You pay for what you get. If an agent is trying to prostitute their fees, they're not the person to represent you, sell your home, because they're the very person that are going to force you to take an offer, buckle when they're under pressure, panic, you know, advise the vendor maybe to accept a bid when they should be just a little bit more cautious, do a little bit more marketing. Maybe they could actually get a little bit more by leaving the house on the market and letting, you know, a little bit longer and advertising a little bit. I just know when somebody needs to take a bid and when somebody needs to hold off. Like, I'll give you an example. I sold a property, put on the market for 800,000. This particular lady, lovely, lovely lady, she had used my service before. She sold a house through Luke and she bought a house through me in the North Kildare area. I sold her a property again for her. We put it on the market at 800,000. This lady said she'd accept a bid of 850. I said, okay. We got a bid of 850. And this lady said, I'll take it. And I said, no, don't take it. I'll call her name Sally, because I said, no, just wait. We've got a couple more viewings on Saturday. We might get a little bit more money. We got 870. She said, that's brilliant, Lorraine. I'll take it. I said, no, don't take it. We have a few more viewings on Wednesday and on Saturday. We're going to do a little bit more marketing. We'll just shake the bag. See if you can get any more diamonds out of the walls here for you. That house sold for 935,000. Now, yeah, that's the truth, Carl. I've files upon files upon files. I can show the difference between what I do, my team do, relative to what some of our competitors do. Now, Leslie and I are European bank valuers as well. So if we don't sell a property, a lot of times we go into our competitors' homes. And sometimes, absolutely, they've got very good money. But sometimes, you know what, Leslie and I go, oh my God, they should have got so much more than that. Because we might have sold a similar type of property in the same time, we would have got so much more money. So people have to understand you pay for what you get. So you might think, oh yeah, this one's now charging me 0.85 or whatever, and this one's charging me. But just be careful with people who prostitute their fees, because you're paying for a skilled negotiator. And they have, like, I'm at the end of the telephone every single email, every single day. And you've no idea. People they've no idea if you've got a really strong auctioneer representing you, the difference in the money that you can get is phenomenal.
Lorraine, then, because I'm a huge proponent of all manner of prop tech, and I know that you're massively supportive of technology, but actually, is negotiation maybe one of the areas where estate agents really need to own and command? Is this where they show their value?
And there's no apps for negotiation. Either have it or you don't have it. That's what you're paying for, Like I'd come home to my husband and at the evening times go, oh my God, Aaron, thanks be to God, told that person to wait. Oh, I did the right thing. I'm after getting under 20 grand, 30 grand. And it's all done very ethically, Carl. It's not that I tell lies. I couldn't live with myself if I did that like that. It's all in line. It's very straight. It's about knowing your product, no dithering, be definite, know your stuff, be on the ball. We're dealing with a very educated consumer base at the moment. People before in our day, Carl, I know we're still very young and all, but you'd have to go to the local library or Britannica in your mum and dad's sitting room or an encyclopedia to get information. This younger generation and older generation, we all have it on our fingertips on our phone. It's called the button generation. So people have a huge amount of knowledge. So you need to know more than they do.
It's more than knowledge, though. One thing I found over the past decade is that home buyers, it's not just that they've access to more information. They're more involved. They're less reverent about estate agents or solicitors and the advice they're getting. So they do an awful lot more research. So they tend to be, in the main, better buyers, because actually it might make them more difficult in the marketplace, but actually it makes for better transactions. But tell me, how is the marketplace? Because you operate across the Greater Dublin area and particularly kind of on the West Dublin into Kildare and North Kildare side. How is the local marketplace faring?
Carl, wait, people are saying like there's a lack of stock. And definitely the stock is starting to open up, but it's not so much of lack of stock. It's just it was coming in and coming out so fast and going for so much money over the guide price. So the market at the moment is exceptionally busy, but Carl, it's extraordinary what's happening at the moment, right? I'm going around and I swear to God, the amount of people I'm meeting on doing viewings from all over the world. Ireland is the new Hawaii. I swear to God, I'm looking at these people going, why did you move to Ireland? I'm asking them, like before, if I went out and did viewings on 20, 30 viewings on a Saturday, 29 of them would be Irish couples and one might be an English couple, right? But I'm going out now. I was out there in Lucan on Saturday and I met a couple from Nepal. There was another couple, he was Egyptian, married to a lovely Spanish lady, a little boy, living in Ireland, loving Ireland. There was an Indian couple, 20 years in Ireland. There's people from all over the world buying in Ireland. Like our population is swollen nearly to to the famine times, including Northern Ireland. And they're coming from all over the world. And I'm asking them, why are you coming to Ireland? And they're coming because quality of life. They say the country is very nice. We have beautiful people in this country. The country is very green. It's never too hot. It's never too cold. I was doing a viewing with a lady out in Carberry. And she was American, married to an Irish guy, and asked her why was she coming home. She said, I'll show you. And she showed me her phone, and it was her house in California burnt due to the forest fire. She said, that's not going to happen again. So she's moving home for good. There was an awful lot of people then. Excuse me. Sorry. There's an awful lot of Irish people.
We're still not back in the office or in the studio, so as I record in my office, and I have been known to have my dogs in the office. So believe me, we've had some barking on the show before.
Oh, Cara, it's okay. It's okay. Look, remote work and we're all in and out, up and down, Yeah. I still have 4 offices. I've Luke and I've celebrated my car, my office at home too. So I totally get it, But Cara, yeah, the people from all over the world moving to Ireland. Like, I mean, like in the 80s, there was no money in Ireland. Everyone was getting out of Ireland. But now people love Ireland. Like, I mean, I'm so proud to be Irish. I'm so proud of this beautiful country. And I think it's very important we embrace these people and be kind to these people,
Lorraine, what's interesting there is that we know that the UK is kind of teetering on the edge of recession. We know that Ireland is in for a downturn, but we know that it's unlikely to take the shape of something we've seen in the past 2 decades, because there's still a lot, as you point to it there's a lot of money in Ireland, there's a lot of interest in Ireland. So what do you think a leveling out is even going to look like, or what are your expectations for the local marketplace over the next 12 to 18 months?
I'm going to answer that, but just one thing I'd say, obviously these people come and looking at property, these are cool, classy, educated people. They're in the pharmaceutical, they're in Intel, they're in IT, they're in the medical world. And so, yeah, Carl, so like these people are in very high paid jobs, they're doing very well, they're contributing to the economy, and they're growing our economy. And plus we have an awful lot of Irish people that are after coming back. Maybe their mom or dad were sick, God forbid they've lost a mother and father, moving back for good. And they're selling up in America and Australia and all over the world and coming back and buying property here in Ireland as well. How I see the market going, how I see the market going, Carl, I think it's going to be a soft landing. See, the last time there was a huge amount of debt. The banks are very zealous about giving out money now. People have to have good deposits. They're checking their credit score. They're making sure they can afford to repay what they're borrowing. And the last time was just carnage because there was just a massive amount of debt and people are given money who should have never got money, and they forgot they had to pay it all back plus interest. So yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge, you know. Well, I'd say to anybody looking to buy a property, if they've a deposit and the repayments aren't too big, just get on with your life, because there's always going to be drama, Alabama, in life. Like, I mean, we're only after getting out over COVID. Now you've got these poor people in the Ukrainian war, which is disgusting what's going on. I can't believe after World War II this is going on again. What this Russian guy is doing to these people is just despicable. So look, there's always going to be some sort of drama in your life, and you just have to get on with it. You know what I mean? And please God, this Ukrainian thing will be over, you know, or I don't know how long it's going to take, and hopefully it won't take too long. But there's going to be something else. So like, does everybody put their house on or their lives on hold? You know, because there's always going to be something going on. So there's always going to be drama. So people have to embrace and move it on. You know, what's really important, Carl, and honest to God, the Irish government has to start doing something. There's a huge amount of people screaming out for rented accommodation, and there's nothing to give them. It's an absolute disgrace. And, you know, I met a Polish couple there in Selbridge on Saturday. I said, God, a lot of the Polish people have gone back. And they said, yeah, and they're great workers, Karen. They were brilliant, contributing to the economy, great workers, lovely people. And they said, yeah, Lorraine, because the rents are too high, they can't afford to stay here anymore. And like, these people are in, you know, they're in the service industry, restaurants and bars. And like, we desperately need these people, you know. So they come back because the rents are too high. I have people there who are trying to save for a house, maybe going through a marriage breakup. I went through a marriage breakup. I was renting a house for 4 years. And thanks be to God, I didn't have to pay $2,500. I was paying $950 at the time. But how in the name of God could you save for a house you're spending that, if you're paying that type of money? And the landlord's not getting it because they give 52% away to the government. So there's nobody winning anything here.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And actually, in terms of the rental, one thing that we know is on the horizon, although it's years late in coming, is that a look again at the tax treatment of private and individual landlords in Ireland, because that really needs to happen. This different treatment of private landlords as opposed to institutional landlords doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense, but actually it's been really detrimental for the market. And we see that from the mass exodus of private landlords. So you're absolutely right. The rental marketplace needs massive attention at the moment. But, you know, apart from the tax treatment that needs to be looked at, which we know is underway at the moment, it all comes back to supply. So whether we're talking about the marketplace or the for sales and purchases, or if it's the rental, we need new supply. So actually supply, and you're in the Greater Dublin area, so you understand it's an area that, while the supply was maybe better in the last number of years of new homes, that's actually started to slow off now. So we know that pressure is going to build up yet again. So it comes back to supply. But look, I suppose finally, Lorraine, your expectations for your own business over the next kind of 12 to 18 months.
We're going to grow, Carl, and whatever is thrown at us, we'll just jump over it, go under it, go through it. We're going nowhere. I've gone too far to come to this point, not to go further. You know, you just have to embrace change, get on with it, drive it on. People need food, clothing, and shelter. And thanks be to God, I've the privilege of being able to provide shelter to my fellow human beings. So whatever it takes, we'll get through it. I'm going nowhere. I've gone through too much. I think in life, if you go through, I went through a really hard time, Carl, and those days, honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to live or die. No, I would have never done anything silly, right? But I was really low at one stage in life, and you either go one way or the other. You go down that slippery slope where you bounce. So I bounced. I've been bouncing ever since. I've no intention of going anywhere. I have too many people relying on me. I have too many, my team, my customers, my family. my husband, my child, my two little I call them my fairy stepdaughter. I don't like calling them stepdaughters. My wonderful mum and dad, my friends, relations, everybody. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. And you know, when things get tough, it's a real sign of, you know, the real true professionals come through. My mom is a saying, the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah.
And Carl, you know the cream, and no better lady, because you're an amazing person too. The cream always rises to the top.
Yeah.
So whatever comes our way, with the help of God, we will get through it.
Inspiration. Genuinely, you're my favorite person in the industry to talk to because you're so upbeat. I love your excellence. I love your attitude towards service. And I genuinely think that the attitude you bring into the marketplace makes it better for everybody in it. So thank you so much for taking the time today. That was Lorraine Mulligan, owner of the multi-award winning National International Real Estate Agency and auctioneers and letting agents in Remax. We need to take a quick break now. Stay tuned.